Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today in bright sunny weather we are going to take a look at the Raider-Goon. That's the guy you can see on screen right now. And as always, I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video we are going to take a look at the perks, the mutations, equipment and everything else you need to know in order to recreate the character. So let's get right into it. What this character is going to be about is we're going to play as a shotgunner, which in and of itself seems like a rather simple, straightforward build to go for. But the interesting thing here, I would say, is that we're trying something I wanted to do for quite a while now, which is I wanted to make a very classical Fallout shotgunner that did not depend on bats. The simple reason here is that shotguns have quite a bit of a bad reputation in Fallout 76, meaning that, yeah, people don't like to use them, saying they are underpowered, and the usual consent is that, yeah, the only real way to make shotguns even half viable is to heavily rely on VATS crits. And yeah, in general I would definitely agree. It's also the reason why pretty much, with one exception, every single shotgunner I did so far on this channel, which actually I think I have done 5 or so, is actually centered around VATS. Yeah, probably it's a good idea to first talk about why VATS is, yeah, it's just a better solution when it comes to a shotgunner in this game. And the reason is rather straightforward. Now, the biggest benefit is obviously, as always, VATS gives you access to a whole new type of damage, meaning critical damage, which also works rather well with shotguns in two different ways. First of all, you can, with rather little investment into luck, get a pretty high critical rate. The basic fact that 4-leaf clover works very well with the multi-projectile shotguns means that you can get a lot of crits with only that one perk. Even rank 1 will do, honestly. And the other big reason is that, yeah, due to the way that shotguns work, you have quite a little bit of spread, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, actually, because that's the first thing you basically think of when you're thinking about shotguns. And yeah, VATS basically eliminates that downside or upside, depending on how you look at it, by simply making it that if you hit in VATS, you always hit with every single pellet of your shotgun, meaning that, yeah, you're not going to waste shots whenever you hit an enemy. And yeah, that's the single most benefit, I guess, because basically if you're targeting a head, you will get full damage. I'm really undecided if I want to kill this guy here, because okay, he's hostile. Yeah, because yeah, if you're using a shotgun, I mean, one thing to keep in mind here is I am basically not very good when it comes to my twitch skills and aiming for the head and free aim and everything. I mean, if you've even seen like 1 or 2 of my videos, you know that. But I would argue that even if you are rather competent when it comes to aiming for headshots, yeah, the sheer spread of shotguns makes it so that, yeah, you very rarely are going to be able to hit an enemy's head reliably with every single one of your pellets. You really have to get in very close on an enemy, and yeah, then comes the additional factor of you having to actually hit that thing. So yeah, overall that definitely works better. Then an additional factor is that, I mean, VATS criticals are always very powerful, but on shotguns they are especially good for the simple reason that VATS criticals come with an inert armor penetration. By the way, this will be one of the very few situations where we are going to VATS simply to cripple the wings of the Scorch Beast, so it has to land. But on this occasion, this one is a special kind of Scorch Beast here. We do sometimes have them in Appalachia. These are the notorious ground Scorch Beast. As you can see there, they are partly subterranean, which makes them extremely fearful enemies. And well, he already regenerated. Yeah, back to the topic. Yeah, the inert armor penetration that comes with VATS crits basically gets rid of shotguns most crippling downsides, which is that due to the way that armor penetration in this game works, shotguns really are penalized very heavily for having multiple projectiles, because the higher the damage of your projectile is, the more armor it penetrates, which in and of itself isn't too, well, too hard to grasp, I guess. But yeah, it means that shotguns have very poor armor penetration, meaning that as soon as you're going against an enemy that has armor, and in this game pretty much every single one has, at least at higher levels, you're missing a very high portion of your damage. And yeah, we are getting around on this occasion with the simple fact that we are using an anti-armor shotgun, meaning we're using the anti-armor legendary effect, because yeah, I think just from top of my head that shotguns are basically the only weapon class in the whole game that does not have any perk you can utilize in order to bypass armor. Pretty much every single other weapon class has a perk, some more effective ones, some less effective ones, but yeah. Shotguns are the only ones that don't have such a perk, and they are the weapon class that probably would need it the most. The only vanilla, I say, way to get armor penetration on a shotgun is if you're using a combat shotgun, which on this occasion we do, and use a penetrating magazine, which gives you some armor penetration, but still we're not talking about a whole lot here. So yeah, I would argue that no matter what, anti-armor is one of the best effects for shotguns, unless you're talking about unyielding. But yeah, everything else I would argue that yeah, anti-armor performs better than junkies, performs better than aristocrats even, like, yeah. Unless you can really boost your damage in and of itself by a high percentage, you probably are best off just using anti-armor effect. Now, the only other time I was using a shotgun outside of VATS on this channel was when I was doing a stealth shotgunner. In that occasion, what I did was I was using a Berserker's explosive combat shotgun, meaning that we did have first and foremost a high boost in our damage just by using sneak attacks, and in addition to that we did have a legendary effect that would give us extra damage as well. So overall we had a lot of damage per shot, so that even with a shotgun our single pellets had enough damage, or were carrying enough damage, so that yeah, we were able to reliably use it. But yeah, as I said in the beginning of the video, on this occasion what I wanted to do is to do a what I imagine very classical shotgunner, meaning that we don't want to use stealth, which just doesn't seem very shotgunner-like. We don't want to use VATS, even though I do quite like the playstyle. I just wanted to go for free aim here, and that was the whole premise of the build. And as you can see by the gameplay, in addition to using the anti-armor effect, we are also having a combat music. We are also having an explosive version, so basically we're running around with an anti-armor explosive combat shotgun, which, yeah, if you're not taking into account the Gauss shotgun, yeah, the combat shotgun is a very good solution. While it has the lowest base damage of all the shotguns, of the vanilla shotguns in game, it has a good fire rate, it has a fast reload, it, as I said earlier, has the only is the only shotgun with an armor penetrating magazine, which we actually not use on this occasion. I will get to that later though. And yeah, probably chances are, if you are going to look up other shotgunner builds, you will most likely see. This is unfortunate, I really didn't think about it. Well, fuck, I guess. So we're just continuing. I hope we will be able to find some super mutants around West Tech. If not, I'm probably even going to go inside here. One single hound and okay. Probably we could be lucky when it comes to West Tech. We will surely find some super mutants to fight. And yeah, back to the build. As you see here, we are doing rather well. There's nothing really need to worry about. We are relatively tanky for a non-power armor character. And yeah, we do have to rely on stimpaks here and there. Pretty standard, but overall I would say that in most encounters I will definitely gain more stimpaks than use up stimpaks, actually, especially when it comes to humans every now and then. I will not bother to really loot them unless they are falling directly in front of my feet, by the way, but yeah. If you're making sure to loot your enemies, especially those human ones every now and then, you will definitely not have to struggle too much with stimpaks, and keep in mind there's always the option of running daily ops just to farm them. Taking a treasure map though. So yeah. Now we're going to fight the Deathclaw, unless here's someone, by the way. And yeah. One thing to say is that even now that we're having no investment into VATS whatsoever, with the exception of one single perk point in Concentrated Fire, which I was basically just including into the build for the single reason that we saw earlier, fighting enemies where I have to target specific limbs in order to cripple them. Yeah. Hey, that was, well, I would say unexpected, but it was just stupid for me. Oh, and the bloody limb damage missile launcher, which I will probably going to script as soon as I have the possibility to. Okay, seems like one deer stumbled to its death. And since we're going to heal anyways, we will probably take the full damage here. Now, yeah, we are lucky we do have super mutants here. And as you can see, well, on this occasion I think we still carried adrenaline, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, starting off a fight, you probably want to focus on the weaker enemies, just because, yeah, it can be a little bit painful to get your damage up if you're just going against single targets. I was half expecting to see the special turrets here that are buried underground, but yeah, not on this occasion. And let's see, well, the front yard looks rather quiet, so on this occasion maybe, well, should we go for the floaters? Yeah, let's just go for the floaters here. I don't really want to walk up to the radio array, to be honest. I think you saw how we're doing against super mutants. We actually killed some of them, and wow, the server is very great. Okay, I guess we still go for the super mutants here. Well, bit of a buggy stream, I guess. Not stream, recording, sorry. And yeah, one thing to note, since we didn't really see it here, one thing I observed from my gameplay with this character here, yeah, situations like the front yard of the West Tech building are definitely the kind of situations where we have to keep a bit of an eye on our health bar. That's definitely one of the situations where we can get into danger. One thing is that we are actually using a full set of Vanguard's armor, so even though it isn't crazy compared to our base resistances, yeah, once we're losing about 25% of our health, we definitely get damage easier. That's another basically use of VETs I'm still utilizing, is just to locate enemies, but you should all be familiar with that, I guess. Everyone who plays the game probably does it every now and then, even if you're playing a heavy gunner or anything. If you're not quite sure where an enemy is, you can just locate them via VETs. And overall, I gotta say, I really had a lot of fun with this build. It's actually quite refreshing to tone down a little bit in terms of your damage output, because yes, that's something I wanted to say earlier. Even now with all of my investment not put into VATS. Still, if I now would just go for headshots, I would probably do better. So that's just a shame. I really would love if there would be just a good way to not rely on stealth with shotguns. But yeah, no matter what you do, we can probably show that off here. Was a bit of a bad start just because we were not aiming for the head. But if we're going for headshots, yeah, we can still do way better now. Obviously we don't have gun fu and stuff like that, but yeah. One thing you can do instead is we are using our excess agility in order to get a bit more tanky from the dodgy perk. And yeah. Yeah, the spawns are really fucked. I really forgot that I should have... Okay. I just stopped talk now. It's also a very cruel build, and the last thing I wanted to say about it is that, yeah, I planned this build for quite a while. I wanted to do it all the time. I was just waiting to get an anti-armor combat shotgun with good effects and explosive. Well, what should I say, is a very good effect for this weapon. And yeah, the perfect thing is that the combat shotgun I really felt like was kind of a very Fallout 3 weapon, for me at least. I really, when I think about the combat shotgun, I always have to think about Fallout 3. It was one of the more iconic weapons, for me at least, playing that game. Very good in the mid game, and you could even carry it into the end game, in my opinion. And yeah, now we do have this here Fallout 3 outfit, the Raider-Goon outfit, which I really love. It was great work from Bethesda, and actually, for once, not a cosmetic I have to buy in the item shop, but something that we can actually earn in the season pass. And it's also not some ridiculous kind of stuff that you throw in once, maybe for a Fastnacht parade or anything, and then never gonna touch again because it's just immersion breaking. But it's just a very good post-apocalyptic Fallout fitting outfit, which I love, and they done a very great job on it, and it really works well with the combat shotgun. And talking about that, let's take a look at the equipment, because that's something... That's a drill. That's something I wanted to talk about. I mentioned during the video that we are not using a penetrating magazine, which would give us a bit of additional armor penetration, but we rather use a drum magazine. Let's be real here, pretty much the main reason we do that is because, yeah, that's how the weapon looked in Fallout 3, and that's what I wanted to go for. Similar to that, yeah, we could use a reflex sight, but I went for the glow ring. We don't need the benefits in terms of AP refresh, just because we're using free aim, so the glow sights for once make sense. I really like them. It doesn't make sense to go for anything more because we don't have the range. And yeah, the rest of the modifications, you can see a hardened receiver for maximum damage, and then we do have a true long barrel, which gives us superior hipfire accuracy. Oftentimes we aim down sights, but on other occasions we definitely do use our hipfire, and it's nice to have that. And forceful stalk is basically just there because, yeah, it gives us more, I think it's accuracy, which is nice, but basically the forceful variant of the stalk gives us more condition. More about that in the near future. And yeah, we have no muzzle here. We could go for a compensator, but it didn't really make sense in my opinion. And yeah, last thing here you see anti-armor explosive, no third perk. If I had to decide, I would definitely go for faster reload. Most likely, it's pretty much the best effect here for what we are doing. But yeah, as you saw during the video, we're doing just fine with having this here 2-star variant. Really a fun build, and looking at the condition, we lost about 1/16, I would guess, because we didn't start with 100%, and that's a very nice thing about this build here. We basically never have to repair our weapon. In terms of armor, we're going to look at it here. We do have a full set of Vanguard, one with a P refresh, another one with a bit of radiation resistance, a 1-star piece, one with endurance and sneak, but we don't use that, and lastly another one with a P refresh and cavalier, but keep in mind 1 rank of the cavalier perk doesn't really do a whole lot, the cavalier effect. And yeah, overall, we're doing relatively well in terms of damage and energy resistance, and what's a bit impressive, I would say, is the high radiation resistance, which also comes from the What Rats perk. But overall, yeah, we're taking rather little radiation, and in addition to that, it also heals us, which we're going to see in a second. Now we're going to take a look at our mutations here. We do have Bird Bones, Eagle Eyes, Grounded, Marsupial, and Speed Demon. Now, one thing right off the bat is that Eagle Eyes absolutely useless here. It's just a leftover from another build. Doesn't really have a noticeable downside though, since we already also debuff our sorry, not debuff. We keep our debuffs relatively low due to class freak, and yeah, -1 strength was negligible on this occasion because we not really use strength for anything other than carry weight. And similar to that is Bird Bones, but I would argue that Bird Bones is not really useless here because, after all, the agility that we do get means more action points, and those action points we can actually convert into survivability because we're using dodge. Then we do have Grounded, which gives us 100 energy resistance, which is very nice, and then, yeah, as a debuff we do get less damage with energy guns, which doesn't matter at all. We're using a ballistic version here, a ballistic weapon. And yeah, lastly we do have Marsupial and Speed Demon. So extra carry weight, extra jump height, extra movement speed, and extra reload speed, very self-explanatory. Another little mention here would be that Scaly Skins would actually work rather well with this character. Would give us just a bit more damage and energy resistance, 50 each to be more precise. And we would get something like, I think, 12.5 less AP, but we could definitely live with that. We do have rather high agility, so yeah, we could definitely shrug that debuff off and be a bit more tanky. But as you saw there, doesn't really matter all that much. Just see, we do have a rather crippling disease, but it doesn't affect us. Melee AP cost plus 50, so yeah, doesn't have to worry us. And yeah, with that being said, we're now going to take a look at the perks here. This is the build. You can see we do have 14 strength. Now we do have rank 3 of traveling pharmacy. Yeah, I just failed to in time go to Minerva and get the chemist's backpack mod, which would be very cool on this build. But yeah, as I said, I failed to carry that to catch that, and therefore we have to use traveling pharmacy here, which I would also advise you to do unless you have, as I said, the chemist backpack mod, because yeah, you definitely want to carry a few super stim packs and so on. So yeah, it's a good decision. On the other hand, you do have quite a lot of carry weight, so you could live without it. One of the more essential perks definitely is Scattershot. Not exactly because it makes our shotguns way less, even though that's a nice bonus here, but yeah, the faster reload speed is definitely something we want to have. Then we do have Bandolier. Yet again, something you could live without. Shotgun shells aren't exactly super heavy, and you don't have to carry a lot of varied ammo types with you. You also don't have to carry a whole lot ammo with you in general. I mean, I run around with, now at the moment, probably 3,500 shots. I never really got down too low. Like whenever I feel like I'm running a bit low, I'm doing a daily op and can rather reliably farm 1,000 to 2,000 shots while doing a elder rank on the daily ops. So yeah, in terms of ammo, it's a very efficient weapon. I find it rather easy to keep up with a supply of shotgun shells. I know some people say it's a bit hard to get shotgun shells because to craft them you need plastic, and that seems to be something people run low on sometimes. What I would advise you to do is just level up one more time, get the Scrapper perk in intelligence, and yeah, don't use it in your build. Just go to Westec or anywhere where super mutants are, kill every one of them, and yeah, then you wanna get all their laser rifles, scrap them down while you do have Scrapper in your perk setup, and yeah, you will get something like 10 to 20, depending on your intelligence level, plastic from each laser rifle, and yeah, you should be fine. And then lastly, we do have rank 1 of Shotgunner, rank 2 of Master, and rank 3 of Expert Shotgunner. So don't ask me why this combination turned out. I don't know. I think, yeah, exactly. I was having rank 1 of shotgunner, rank 2 of master and expert shotgunner, and while leveling up, I gained one more expert shotgunner perk from a perk card pack. So yeah. Otherwise, I would have gone for rank 2 in every single shotgunner build, but perk, sorry, but it doesn't matter at all. Would be the same outcome as 2 in every other one, meaning that overall we get a combined 60% additional damage to our shotguns, additive that is, which is noticeable. Obviously, maxing it out would be nice. That would be something I would do if, yeah, traveling pharmacy wasn't a necessity for me here. Then we move on to perception, which usually when I'm not using that, perception is standard 1, but yeah, on this occasion we do have it at 4. Concentrated fire at rank 1, I explained it during the video. Sometimes we just want to target specific limbs in order to cripple them, but that's basically it. So that's why that's there. And rank 3 of skeet shooter, that's definitely something I would consider necessary. Excellent accuracy and spread, well, excellent for a shotgun, I would argue. Obviously, you do still have quite some spread and don't have a lot of accuracy, but overall, yeah, it definitely helps you and it definitely improves your damage output somehow by just making it that if you're shooting at someone at, let's say, mid to low range, yeah, you can just get more of your pellets to land on their torso or head, quite simply. So overall your damage output does improve definitely if you're using skeet shooter. Then we do have 9 endurance, which is, you have a nice middle sweet spot. Combined with our relatively high armor rating, I would say that we definitely can tank some enemies. We do also have some survivability perks that we will going to talk about, but yeah, I went for fireproof, adamantium skeleton and ghoulish. Fireproof, always a good idea, especially now that we're using a close range weapon that has explosive damage. So yeah, without fireproof and without dents, we would arguably constantly damage ourselves, even though we probably wouldn't one-hit ourselves or anything. But yeah, even damaging yourself a little bit, taking 5% of your health each of the time, can be a bit bothersome and definitely increases the the rate of stimpaks that you're using. Then adamantium skeleton, I just find it nice to have because yeah, getting your legs crippled and humping everywhere until you use a stimpak is a bit bothersome, and sometimes I just wanna wait before I take a stimpak, and yeah, adamantium skeleton is a nice idea, so you can always sprint away and everything. And lastly, we do have Ghoulish, which is a bit counterintuitive to our rather high radiation resistance of 150, but it still works rather fine if we're fighting against ghouls or anything. It definitely makes us more tanky, and yeah, in a surprising amount of situation it helps us. For example, if you're fighting around the fissure site, you definitely get a good healing going on all of the time as long as you're in radiation, while simultaneously not getting too irradiated so that the rats stack up and you have to use red away. And overall you will see that we have the what rats perk, so the little rats we will get will also go away rather fast. So yeah, nice little synergy going on there, I quite like it, and yeah, that's it. Then just in order to do something a bit different at least, I didn't go for Lone Wanderer as well as Tenderizer on this occasion. Now even though yeah, obviously, yeah, 20% less damage from Lone Wanderer would have been nice, but we could definitely live without it on this situation. And yeah, the AP refresh also isn't too important since we already have 2 AP refresh pieces, 2 powered armor pieces that is, and yeah, therefore all we did here is Tenderizer. We have a semi-automatic shotgun, so even though sometimes we do one-shot stuff, on most occasions I would argue we use 2 to 3 shots, and therefore we get a good benefit from Tenderizer. Then we do have Demo Expert. Well, it's not necessary, doesn't do a whole lot. I think we're talking about something like 15 to 20 additional damage with Demo Expert. So yeah, you can definitely live without it. Probably won't even notice too much of a damage difference, especially against the higher yeah, higher enemies that are having high explosive resistance oftentimes, especially bosses. And what you could do is you could, in addition to the forceful stalk, in addition to luck of the draw, uh, also use gunsmith rank 5, and basically at that point, yeah, you would probably be able to play around for like 2 months or so with that weapon without it ever breaking. So yeah, that's something to consider. I went for a little bit more damage here, and that's it basically. Excuse me. Then we do have rather high agility and luck, which is a bit odd, especially the luck part, because I said earlier that one big benefit of shotguns when it comes to VETs is that with rather little investment you can in luck you can get very solid in VETs, and now we're not using VETs and invest a lot in luck, but yeah, we will get to that in a second. So in agility, one of the more powerful perks that shotgunners have is Enforcer. It's ridiculously powerful in crippling, basically a 30% chance to cripple a limb, and you do have that 8 times because yeah, it works for every single pellet that you do have. And it doesn't work for the explosive part, by the way. That was patched out like half a year ago or something, but still, you saw it earlier. One, if you're really unlucky, sometimes you need 2 shots to cripple a limb, which can be very beneficial. It basically hard counters most melee enemies. Think about the Deathclaw, unless you then cripple it, make it immobilize, and yeah, run into its claws again, which I did. Unless you do that, you can definitely just stay away and even let it lie there if you're not concerned with the XP or the loot. And therefore, yeah, Enforcer was a max, it was a must-have here. Also really helps with dealing with larger groups of enemies, especially if you're around the Whitespring area or so on, and ghouls start to really swarm you. You can just aim for their legs, and yeah, you have a good chance to immobilize a good bit of them, making them basically useless. Then we do have rank 1 of Born Survivor, just as a little bit of a safety net. Oftentimes when I don't necessarily need the agility points for anything else, I do like to use 1 rank of this perk, just to give me a little bit of a of an advantage when I'm not really when I'm in a heating fight and I don't really pay attention too much on my health meter. Yeah, Born Survivor is nice to have, but obviously not necessary. Then we do have White Knight, which I would deem rather necessary. Just because we're constantly in danger, constantly getting shot, bitten, and punched. So yeah, we don't really want to have to repair our armor all the time. And with White Knight, yeah, especially the marine armor tends to have rather good condition, so you can definitely go for a while. And yeah, lastly, we do have Dodgy and Adrenaline. Adrenaline is rather self-explanatory, giving us more damage, and since we do have the perk points, we can obviously use that here. And yeah, Dodgy works very well on this occasion. We don't really need our agility for anything other than running or dodgy, so yeah, it really helps us in most situations. Now the only situation where you really have to worry about it is if you're getting swarmed by a ton of ranged enemies. That's when sometimes I seem like I'm running out of AP, and you definitely notice the difference if dodgy is active or not, but on very rare occasions I would say dodgy fails to be useless to be useful, so I would definitely recommend using it on this occasion. And yeah, now to luck. We do have Bloody Mess just because we wanted to have a little bit of an additional damage bonus here, and we don't really need it for anything else. And then we do have Ricochet. Works rather well if you have a vampire's weapon with you, which I would advise you to do as a secondary weapon. Vampires on shotguns works exceptionally well, since yet again every single pellet, especially if you're having a vampire's explosive version, heals you. I actually was glad to get a vampire's explosive 250 damage resistance while reloading double barrel shotgun, which I really like to use, and I actually often use that at daily ops. So yeah, just reduces the incoming damage basically. Ranged attacks only, by the way, but yeah. Then we do have Luck of the Draw. I slightly touched on it. Works pretty well on this occasion, not because it actually triggers more often, in my opinion, even though it could be seen as it has this nice synergy yet again with the multiple projectiles, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It doesn't really proc all that often. The fact is just that, yeah, nowadays shotguns tend to have very good condition to begin with. In addition to that, we use the forceful stock just because we don't need anything that improves our VATS game, so we can actually use that stock easily to get yet more condition. And that combined with luck of the draw means that, yeah, our weapon keeps running forever. You can definitely use something else here instead of luck of the draw, and would still be fine. You don't have to repair your weapon all that often, but I just wanted to double down on that situation. Then we do have Class Freak. You've seen it earlier, we do have quite some debuffs, mainly to our carry weight, and yeah, just to avoid them. And yeah, in addition to that, you can just basically stop to give a fuck. There's no real mutation that would definitely be problematic, unless we're talking about, yeah, what would be a hindrance probably is talents, no, not talents, twisted muscles, just because even if it's a bit reduced by Class Freak, yeah, a debuff to gun accuracy would be a bit crippling, but yeah, we could still live with that. So yeah, you can really go wild with your mutations on this occasion if you want to. And lastly, we do have Starch Genes here. Not a lot to talk about. We wanna keep our mutations, don't get any new ones, etc. And that leaves us with our legendary perks. As always, the first ones I cover are the simple and boring ones that just give me more perk points. On this occasion we do have strength, we do have endurance, agility and perception, so yeah, not a lot to talk here. 2 in each of them, which is nice. Then we do have Ward Rats at rank 2. I'm not sure if I have a single character that has more than rank 2 of Ward Rats, but yeah. Rank 2 is where I find it very useful, and I don't really see the need to go very much higher, because I think even maxed out it wouldn't be enough to just survive in a nuke zone. So yeah, rank 2 is all we need on this occasion. This is where 75% of our red resistance come from. If you're interested, by the way, yeah, marine armor comes with some inbuilt radiation resistance. Then in addition to that, we do have a lead line chest piece, which I just found out and didn't really bother to remove, and one piece that we do have has a legendary effect with 25 red resistance, so that's how we come up to like 158 if I recall correctly. And lastly, we do have Far-Flung Fireworks. I can definitely recall seeing it go off once, but I guess it was probably a bit more than that during the video, which is always just a fun thing to have on you, and I definitely feel like overall it just improves your damage output a little bit. And yeah, let's be real here, it's just a fun perk. Sometimes enemies go boom boom, and that's nice. So yeah, what should I say here? Think it's night now. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build, guys. I really was having more fun than I expected with this one here. Yeah, I would have loved to just yet again show more of the newer stuff that came with the Steel Rain update, but yeah, I just can't keep up with just doing that. I have to use all the legendary effects and so on, and yeah, after all, there's still something unexplored that I will definitely want to take a look at. So yeah, next build probably though is going to be focusing on one of the newer effects, the Juggernaut's effect probably. So keep an eye out for that, guys, and in the meantime I hope you have a lot of fun, and yeah, see you. Bye.